Spider-Man Brand New Day is finally in production, and based off of the video revealing the suit and all of the set photos that have been leaked, there's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of theories, and I want to break into the theories that I think are going to happen in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But before I get started, make sure you drop your theories down below. These are just my thoughts. We have no idea how this movie is going to play out, but at the end of the day, I'm so excited for this. Now, one of the biggest things that dropped from this movie is the news that the Punisher, Jon Bernthal's Punisher, is going to be in this movie. And you may be thinking, how? How is a character like that, that's so lethal and so violent, gonna work in a Spider-Man movie? Well, this is what I think is gonna happen. So in the comics, the Punisher made his debut way back in the Amazing Spider-Man 129 in 1974, and believe it or not, he wasn't a hero at the time. He was actually hired by J. Jonah Jameson to take out Spider-Man, you know, in pure J. Jonah Jameson fashion. He believed that he was a criminal. That's the kind of intense black and white moral code that Frank Castle goes by. And if you're a threat, you're going down permanently. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here with this character of Punisher. How is that gonna play out on screen? Because there's not a doubt in my mind that this movie is gonna be PG-13, and based off of what we've seen in the Daredevil show and the Punisher show, this is not a character that plays by PG-13 rules. So it's really kind of interesting on how that character is going to play out without diminishing what he's known to do. So now we have to think about how the MCU street level New York is going to work in all of this. You've got Spider-Man, who's all about responsibility, he's all about redemption, and never crossing that lethal line. Especially if you take into account what happened to him in No Way Home with Aunt May, Green Goblin. Seeing that happen to someone that he loves, that was so close to him, I feel like the lethal approach is completely off the table. And on the other side of things, you have the Punisher, who believes the only way to stop evil is to erase it. And it's really, if you think about it, it's the huge ideological clash between the two. And if Marvel plays this just right, we're gonna see more than just fist flying. We're gonna see Peter Parker really question what it really means to be a hero, especially if Punisher just starts targeting all the villains that Spidey might have let go in the past. And the more that I kind of talk about this theory, it really brings me back to Civil War and what Civil War was all about and why it worked so well, where you see both sides to things. You may side with one side a lot more than the other, but you can still see why the people are doing what they're doing, what the characters are doing what they're doing. And I think the same rules could work really well here. Now, the next theory I want to talk about is Mr. Negative. Now, they already revealed that he is not the villain in this movie. He's not in this. Well, because his gang's logo is already on the set photos, the leaked set photos, I'm inclined to think different. Now, of course, we don't know what's going to happen until the movie actually plays out, but I'm not going to believe them until the movie's out because there are clues that he's going to be in this movie. So, we're going into Mr. Negative. Now in the comics, Mr. Negative, aka Martin Lee, is a fascinating villain. Like, by the day he runs a charitable organization, and then by night, he's a crime boss who can control minds, corrupt people with a single touch, and lead his inner demons gang into battle. That's what I'm talking about. The Demons Gang logo was on the set photos. So, I don't care what they say, he's probably in this. But here's where it gets really dangerous and really interesting. What if Mr. Negative gets his hooks into Bruce Banner? Because we know that Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, is locked into this movie. He is gonna be in this movie, we just don't know to what degree. And I think Mr. Negative is gonna play a huge part in it. So in the comics, Mr. Negative's powers can twist a person's personality, turning allies straight into enemies. Now, under his influence, Banner could lose control and unleash the Savage Hulk, which is something we all wanted. You know, I really missed that Hulk in the MCU, and it's been pretty much a decade since we actually saw that side of Hulk. So I'm more than ready for this. Bring him back. And then suddenly, Spider-Man's not just fighting gangsters, he's fighting an Avenger who could level a city block. That's the kind of high-stakes chaos that makes you wonder, can Peter actually save the day without destroying his friends in the process? So he's gonna have to make these crazy decisions in the mix of, there's Mr. Negative still out there doing his thing, but now he has to worry about the Hulk on top of possibly the Punisher. It's gonna get crazy, it's gonna get wild. There's gonna be so many hard decisions that Peter's gonna have to make in this potentially, that's really gonna draw him out and make him feel like the leader, the Spider-Man that we've always wanted through the entire MCU. This movie might solidify that finally. And this next theory is completely wild, it's completely out of the blue, but it's definitely possible and it could happen. And if it happens, this thing is going to surprise everybody watching. It's gonna surprise the MCU fans, it's gonna surprise the general audience, and I think I can speak for a lot of us saying that this needs to happen. So at this point, one of the confirmed things about Brand New Day is that Scorpion is back. The actor that played him back in Spider-Man Homecoming, Michael Mando, is returning as Mac Gargan, the same guy that was in, like I said, Spider-Man Homecoming. So, in the comics, Gargan first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 19 in 1964, and he became Scorpion in issue number 20. So, back in the comics, he wasn't Scorpion until a later time, just kind of like what we're seeing now with the MCU. So that kind of lines up a little bit. And his whole origin is tied to J. Jonah Jameson, who funded an experiment to give him powers specifically to take down Spider-Man. I swear, J. Jonah Jameson and Lex Luthor are the biggest haters in comic book history. I loved what Lex Luthor did earlier this summer in Superman. I'd love to see that play out in the new Spider-Man movie, where J. Jonah Jameson does everything possible to take down Spider-Man. But that's a whole other thing. Let's get back to Scorpion. So that whole plan worked, but it also made Gargan completely unstable. He was aggressive and a permanent enemy to Peter Parker. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. In later storylines, Mac Gargan actually becomes a host for a Venom symbiote. Not only did that make him one of Spider-Man's deadliest enemies, but at a point, he even posed as Spider-Man while working with the Dark Avengers. So how does this all connect to Brand New Day? Easy. Remember that post-credit scene where Venom saw Spider-Man even though they've never met, at least that what we've seen on the TV screen? He goes up and he licks it, and he's just so infatuated with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And then his symbiote, got left behind in the MCU when he went back to his universe. God, the story is just all over the place. But yeah, a piece of Venom is apparently left in the MCU. So whether they abandon that storyline, which is probably more likely, I like the idea of the Venom symbiote getting onto Scorpion. It's something that no one's gonna expect. Everyone is gonna think that it's gonna be gunning for Eddie Brock in this universe or Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But what if it goes after someone else and it eventually finds its way to Peter Parker? That's completely fine. But going about it a different, really unexpected way, I think is the perfect mix-up, perfect, diversion, just really surprise us. Because there's a lot of things in the MCU that just does not surprise us anymore. But if this is the way that we're getting Venom, that's gonna be a complete surprise on top of all these other surprises that I'm sure is in this Spider-Man movie. But this one would take the cake. But those are my theories on Spider-Man Brand New Day, and of course, as time goes on, more details are gonna come out, more rumors, more leaks, all that great stuff. So at the end of the day, these theories might just be completely wrong, and that's okay. It's a lot of fun to come up with this stuff, but let me know what you think is gonna happen in this movie, and of course, what you want to see happen in this movie in the comments. Make sure you keep it fun, keep it friendly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.